You're listening to Where You Live with Gene Sullivan.
Welcome back to Where You Live. And TV dramas.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I should know this one.
It was recently revived, had like a comeback, remake.
Oh, Dallas.
Dallas.
There we go.
Nice.
Thank you. Okay. I'm at least I've got my dignity back here in the last segment.
Exactly.
Well, hey, we've got a lot more to cover with this notion of contract for deeds. We're talking about the Star Tribune had done a lengthy article a number of months back saying that these were nothing but a house of horror for buyers. And a contract for deed can be a wonderful thing if you know and understand that you are not taken out of the equation in terms of responsibility. And the big rub here is there is a saying, caveat emptor, which means the buyer beware. That used to be something that was ingrained, at least in a lot of us growing up, that if you're going to buy something, you know what? Don't just think that everything's hunky-dory. You've got some responsibility here. And people are just going into the purchase, a huge purchase, going into debts of hundreds of thousands of dollars with the largest purchase of their life, not knowing or understanding that there's some responsibility you have to find out some things about this home that you're purchasing. Now, a contract for deed, it's called a contract for deed because it's the same as home ownership in that someone used to use this analogy as thinking of home ownership as owning and handling a bundle of sticks, okay? One of those sticks would be quiet use and enjoyment of the property. Another one would be your ability to use it as collateral. Another right you have is that you own the property, you own the land. So if there are mineral rights, that means if there's a vein of gold below the house where your house sits, you own it. That's yours. That's right. There's a lot of ownership that you have, but one stick is taken out of the bundle. And what is that? The actual deed. The seller keeps the deed because he's acting as the bank. And until you pay him off the entire amount, he wants to know that he has got leverage to be able to get the property back. And what's happening, unfortunately, is that people are going in saying, well, contract for deed sounds too good to be true. And it is and the reason it is too good to be true is because they aren't being responsible in what they have to do in verifying the condition of the home, verifying the financial wherewithal of the seller. Just like the bank is going to traditionally in a mortgage try and find out how you are financially, you need to find out how the seller is. Are they going to be able to make the payments? In this particular case, maybe the buyer should be making the payments and just show verification to the seller each and every month. That way you know the payments being handled. But here we had situations where people were losing their homes. There was one situation where one woman, I couldn't believe it. She purchased a home for $210,000. Now, her income is only $33,000 a year. And she thought that the house was going to be paid in full in 3 years. But after 3 years of this contract for deed, she found out that she owed a lot more money. And I'm just thinking, how can this be? I mean, I'm sorry for her loss, but I mean, couldn't basic math have told you that? You only make $33,000 a year. If you took every cent and every penny for those 3 years, you would have $99,000. That's not paying a $210,000 home off in full. If you make 36 payments for 3 years, you'd be making payments of over $5,800 a month, a lot more than she was taking in. How could people make that connection? I don't understand. There is a lot that a contract for deed can be a good thing, but you need to realize that you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility. Maybe one of the things to take a look at is maybe having a middleman in place. One of the reasons people have realtors today is because you can have a realtor represent you, looking out for you and your interests, letting you know the things that you need to watch out for, disclosures that you should be seeing, verification of the property, its condition. There's so much more that should be taken care of. So contract for deeds, it's been a horror only because people are going in with blinders on. Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. Thanks for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of the weekend and look forward to having you here next Saturday on Where You Live.
It's like California, don't you know, to be loved by you. How sweet it is to be loved.